to keep liking away, please. That'd be good. Get us out there. How are
Appreciate
you?
the love on TikTok. People joining us now on YouTube as well. So let's go, Joe. Inspiration Nation. Hello, Jose Noya, Lee Kemp, and absent Ryan Boniface this week. We do miss him. Joe, he's holding up the book. Tell everyone what we're talking about.
We are talking about the fifth regret of the dying. I wish I'd let myself be happier. So, Lee, I wish I'd let myself be happier. Go to the end of your life on your deathbed. What's your rating of your happiness?
Hold on, you'll love this, and it'll be going on YouTube now. We have a technical issue, Jose.
Lee, what's going on?
I don't know, I can't hear you on my desktop, mate.
You can't hear me at all?
No.
So, apologies there, TikTokers. We are just waiting for YouTube to go live. Hiya, Nezreen. Thank you for joining us. Really appreciate that. Thank you. Thank you for joining us. Thank you so much. Appreciate it. TK5. Thank you for joining. Really appreciate it. It's
we do
really
appreciate
cool.
everyone. Right, we'll give this a go again, Joe.
Go.
Keep talking to
Okay.
TikTok.
Oh, I'm talking to TikTok. Right, okay.
There we go.
TK...
Technical issues overcome. Sorry, I cut in as I got you to talk there. Anyway, we're on Inspiration Nation. Hello, YouTube. You can now hear us. TikTok put up some nonsense. Those on the audio streams, we appreciate you. Jose and Lee and absent Ryan this week. Jose, go. What is the subject?
Right. This week we're talking about I wish I'd let myself be happier, which is regret number 5 from the book 5 Regrets of Dying by Bronnie Ware. So Lee, I'm going to ask the question again. This time without technical difficulties even.
I appreciate that.
And not talking difficulties. So fast forward to the end of your life, thinking about you wish you'd be happier. Do you wish you'd been happier right now? You're right at the end of your life.
Actually, probably at the end of my life, because I'm convinced, absolutely convinced I'm going to live to 120. So I've got like, quick maths, number of years to go, 80 years to go till I, is that right? 70 years to go. Whatever gets me to 120. It's just in my head. I'm just absolutely beyond the shadow of a doubt. I just know it to be true. Know it to be true. Probably a subject for another day.
Yeah, I like that.
But so I'm going to live to 120. So it's a long way to go. And I think where I am now, from this point onwards, and a few years past, until I get there, I will be very happy. So I will look back at the span of my life and think, for the majority of my life, I was happy enough. If tomorrow a plane falls out of the sky and lands on my head and squishes me, probably far more dramatic than squishes me, but let's say that's what happens. I don't know, I think I spent a fair bit of my teens and my 20s and probably some of my 30s aspiring to fit in and always be looking forward and not feeling I'm where I should be. And we've talked about this on lots of episodes, so I don't think I was, and I think a lot of that was in my head rather than reality. As you do, you construct your own reality around me, and I think I defined myself through a few bad spots, but I think I projected that across all the good times as well. And I think I'm becoming more and more aware of that retrospectively. So if it was today, I'd probably have some regrets about less mindfulness, less living in the moment, not appreciating things for what they were. I don't exactly know how to describe it yet. But and I think if you'd have said to me at the time, "Are you happy?" I'd have said absolute yes. And I don't think I was unhappy. I don't think I had, like you had, Jose, I don't think I had like a depression period or anything else like that. I just think I worried too much, and that probably ebbed away at my happiness more than I realised, given where I am now. And not material change, not outside things, nothing else, just the fact that I perceive what I can control and where I'm going and happiness and stuff like that differently. I probably realise retrospectively. There's probably a bit of a ramble and doesn't make a huge amount of sense, but let's leave that there for a second and you can loop back to me again.
No, I like that, because I think, you said about planes squishing you, and I was thinking, well, it squished you. You're not really thinking much time, not much thinking time there, right?
That's true. That was a bad example, wasn't it?
If you're squished by a plane, I don't think you'll be able to lie there and go, well, I think my life. No, I'm dead. I'm dead already. Well, you didn't know you were
tomorrow
dead.
Something terminally spears me through the stomach and it's irreparable, but it's going to take a few hours, then I'll probably stop. Yeah. I'll probably be
yeah.
thinking, "Oh my god, this hurts," but you get, we'll
You might,
work
yeah,
with
that
that.
might be that really is. Yeah, yeah. It's a difficult one, isn't it? And I mean, I was unhappy for quite a, well, I thought when I was younger, I was very happy. When I was like blissfully, almost like blissfully ignorant, I was very happy. Like when I was when I was a child, I say, like you just don't see the real, like, you know, you just got a thought of the world that everything's great, everything's happening, everything's good, and then go through your work life, and I went through that mental health phase, which just really woke me up to saying, well, okay, this is a tough life, this is a hard life, right? Because your mum and dad protect you to a certain extent. Mum really looked after me, bless her. She's now gone. But yeah, after mental health, that did really wake me up to say, oh, John, I need to do things. But I was really happy when I was younger. Like I was a very happy child, and so that bit I think was great, and I want to get back to that. And I said this before, I want to get back to that to some extent, and I think I am getting there. But I still am quite serious about certain things. And if I fast forward to the end of my life right now, and would I regret? I wish I'd been happier. I think I'm much happier now in the later parts of my life. Although my mum passed away, maybe 2 years ago, I think right now, I'm definitely been feeling happier since after my depression, and I've been, now in my work life, in my home life, because I shaped it through coaching and done a lot of work. I'm definitely happier. And like you, Lee, I'm recognizing what I can influence, what I can't influence, and can let that go. Although I can still be angry, right? I was even watching the news the other day, and I thought, oh, I really don't like that. I can't remember what it was. It was something. And I was thinking, oh, it's disgraceful. And I thought, what am I doing? I can't control any of that. All I can do is influence. So, not wasting time on things that I can't actually control, and actually really focus on things that I can. And just knowing that, like you said, Lee, about judging and not judging, and who am I to judge, right? All we can do is, hold ourselves to a higher standard, and not project that on others. And that's another thing that I've learned. But if I go now to the end of my life, I think I'd be all right. I think I'd, brought up two lovely children, you know, done all right in my career. I'm pretty happy where I am, you know, financially, well-being wise, pretty, there's stuff that affects people like everybody, but overall, I think, I'm doing the things that I've always wanted to do. Though I didn't know I wanted to do them until later on, I was like doing a podcast. Like I wouldn't believe you in 20 years we will be doing this podcast together, and I'd be talking really deep subjects. In fact, I was talking about someone this about the other day. So I dropped my pen the other day. That I needed an outlet for my conversations, and I always struggled, because we always talk about this, don't we? About wanting a deeper conversation. Well, how are you doing? I'm all right. How are you doing? All right. And you have that service conversation, and this is why I think I got frustrated. Not that I wasn't that happy, is because I wasn't able to have this conversation. Now we can have them because of this podcast, and that fulfills that need. And just want everybody's out there listening, that want this to help you. So if you need something or need to shape something in your life, to avoid that happiness, not being as happy, just do things that you enjoy. That's the key around it, and shape your life around it. Now you're not always going to be happy. I think term happiness, right? You can't always be happy. There are going to be things that come in and you're not going to be that happy. So just remember that it's more around purpose. I think Lee mentioned this a couple of podcasts ago, actually. If you've got a purpose, I get up early now and all that sort of stuff. I really enjoy getting up early because I feel I have a purpose, helping people. I want to help people through sharing experiences, coaching, doing these videos, and really just, doing things I really enjoy, like my tennis and doing all that, but always focus on personal development. In fact, yesterday, I don't know if I've got it here, I took a book with me. Oh, it's not here. Anyway, it's The Inner Game of Tennis. I picked it back up again.
He loves a bit of tennis.
Yeah, and it's called The Inner Game of Tennis, but it's by Timothy Galway. And I took it with me because I had a bit of time going to this offsite that I was going to, and I was reading that, and then someone on the offsite said, "What's that?" And I said, "Well, it's a tennis book, but it's about coaching tennis book." Oh, surprise, surprise! But I love it, and this is what I love, and this is what I think. If I went and I did what's on my deathbed by tomorrow, I think I'd be all right with it. I'd be all right with it.
Good. That's what I want to hear, Jose.
That's me, really. That's me. But going back to this question, so you say you're happy, Lee. What are the things that make you happy then? What is it would you say gives you that contentment I know you said that you've recognised that things are, you recognise things aren't in your control. But what are the things that are you doing that are making you happier and contented? That that if you did get into life, that you say, "Do you know what, I'm good."
I think it's being comfortable with who I am more than anything else. I think it's that what being knowing that my definition of success, a good life, a happy life, isn't based on other people's views or what other people see as important or what I perceive as what other people see as important, but it's me and my version of that, and focusing everything I do, or certainly as much of everything I do as possible, on that thing.
Hmm.
That's I think that's more at a core of it. I think that's it. And there's things that creep in, like we talked, the mindfulness stuff and things clicking into place in life and etc etc. But I think more than anything else, it's me knowing what those parameters are for happiness and building them on what I want. And it's hard to pick out bits of my day at the moment that aren't driving me in a direction of one of those things.
So, what are your parameters for happiness? Because someone might be able to pick up on Skip Drop and Power. Oh, that's annoying. That is annoying. Sorry about that, Lee. But what are your parameters for happiness? I think it'd be quite nice if I don't. You don't have to review everything, but like, it'd be nice to get some. Yeah, because some people might resonate with what your story is, and so for me, it's obviously. Oh, sorry about this. It's purpose, right? It's
Moved
purpose.
well
But
away from the
sorry,
microphone there, Jose.
I'll repeat that. My thing is purpose, and like you say, knowing who you are, really important. But what would you say for you would be the parameters of happiness for you? If
I
you could
just think
spit them out.
if you were to bullet point some key things about my life right now and give them to 18-year-old me, it would be like, not just, oh, that's good, because you can say, oh, you'd have this or do this or be here, and you're like, oh, that's really good, but they're not good. They're like, if I was to write down everything I'd want, and then I get that list of how everything is now and compare them side by side, they would be very comparable to one another. I'm trying to think of the best way to articulate it without divulging some personal specifics. But like from a work point of view, I think my job is like my ideal job right now, in every way, shape, or form. Not what it is, what I get to achieve, how much time I spend doing it. Just all of that is perfect. Things grown up, simple things, but things even like home ownership seemed unattainable to me when I was growing up, and I'm there. And I always had this thing, someone would be like, oh, if you were successful, what car would you drive? That's probably not a thing to younger generations now, but it certainly was when we were younger. And I always said I'd want to be understated, so I wouldn't be a BMW or a Mercedes or an Audi guy, but I'd want something that's understated success. And I think that's, for example, that's what my car is now. And it wasn't like I drove everything to, I want to have this car. It almost came as a byproduct on focusing on the other things. So the material stuff around it is almost like a byproduct of that. And like my backlog your life thing, I love little projects and trying little things. And I've carved out time to be able to do those things and try different things and experiment. As we talked about here, should be available, I would say, before the end of this year, but I'm writing a book at the moment. That was always on my achievement list. And I've managed to make time to do that for me alongside my job and things I want to achieve doing in the house, etc, etc, etc. And I'm focusing my time on the things that make me happy, basically. Again, bit of a ramble all over the show.
Well, let's do a bit of promotion for the book. What's the book?
The book is Inspiration Nation Year 1. And I still do it now on our social media at Listen to IN, Listen TOIN on Twitter. I put out a number of clips on social media. So when we started this, Mr. Jose, I started to look in ways to promote podcasts on social media and doing quotes and what are called audiograms, which is a quote with a bit of audio supporting the image, were two of the key things. So for a long time, for the first probably 120 episodes or so, I've got between 3 and 5 of these for every single episode. And I rotate them around on social media. They get some good engagement. Again, appreciate people that look at them. If you retweet them, much love, appreciate that, and it supports the show. But other than that, they're not really doing anything. And there's a lot of content there that aren't doing anything besides his Twitter cycle, which is valuable. That's what I did them for. But, you know, repurposing content is a big thing if you're in that creation. So I thought, well, why not put all these quotes into a book and write a little bit of either a little bit of a view on the show or expand on the message of the quotes and turn it into like a little inspirational guidebook. And I'm doing that for the first 52 episodes, which nicely ties in because there's a little bit of a narrative there of our journey and the growth of the podcast and what we've done, which is a thread that goes through this. And I don't know, poetically, it times quite nicely because episode 52 is the last episode before we went into lockdown for COVID. And it just...
Oh, wow.
I don't know, there's
How
just
cool
something quite
That's
poetic.
a weird pattern, isn't it?
The cliffhanger, if you like, of that is how that first year of the podcast led us into that and almost in a way prepared us for it. So there's a bit of detail there, but what I just hope it's like a nice, you know, you can open it and you've got a couple of little inspirational quotes and a bit of a motivational message and a bit of our story all kind of blended together.
That is a big piece of your happiness, right?
And I
there,
think I've
I
so
don't know,
far...
You really did like go to town on that. I just said, well, what's the book? And you went to town.
That was off the top of my head as well. I feel I'm going to go back and use that as a blurb for the book. But I've curated episodes 1 to 41, so we're that close to the end now, Jose. I'm even thinking I might get there. I'm even thinking I might get there this weekend for the first draft.
Holy moly, that's so good. Yeah, so I mean that's the thing is in fact, and you know, talking about happiness and you know, this whole podcast has you know permeated my life. You know, at work, and in fact, I've got to do this little presentation and at work, and you know, it's around you know coaching. And what I'm going to use one of the examples is the creation of the podcast story, right? You know, how do you get to this thing, right? You know, that, you know, things like when you talk, you know, we had that discussion in the pub, you know, in looking back, it's just incredible. And yeah, I think this is one of the things I think looking back and happiness wise, again, I think this is a great way we catch up and we talk about things that are really important to us, and we hope we pass this on to other people. But that's the happiness, right? That this will help other people along the way. And I think by helping people, I mean, for me, helping people makes me super happy. Helping people. I know you talked about, you know, material, you know, you said understated possessions and stuff like that. I'm trying to get away from materialism. I'm really trying, but I find it really hard, really difficult.
I'm with you on that.
Trying to get away from it.
I grew up in a generation where I think that kind of millionaire lifestyle, big house, was an aspiration, and actually, it's not in the slightest bit for me now whatsoever. Ironically, and again, not turning into detail, I'm probably less interested in that sort of thing, when I'm in the most advantageous position to do that. I've got more disposable income than ever, and I'm less interested in that kind of externally flashy lifestyle thing.
Yeah, it's really interesting.
But you can't. I think it's unattainable because whatever you get, there's always something new. There's always something better. There's always someone who likes something different, and you're doing it to impress. I think you're just on a spiral that you're never going to get there. And again, it's that external validation rather than the internal. And I think the more, again, I'm like with the book, and I know I went into the passionate rant about it, or ramble, I meant to say. But what I've done is I've got my life to a place where I've got time to do that, because I wanted to do it forever, and it's very easy to say I've got no time. And I think the biggest thing around the happiness, I'd say, Joe, is how you have to work hard. I've got a bubbling theory that it's not even our natural state to be happy, and you have to work really hard to make it happen. The work pays off, and it pays off well. But you do, you know, to get to where I am in my job, there's a lot of years behind it to hone the skills, and it's still every day. It's hard work to make it work, but it pays off, and it's hard work to be disciplined to make the time to do the things that I want to give me gratification. It'd be so easy to be like, oh, I just scroll my phone for an hour, and then the next day, and suddenly you're doing that every day, and it's not fulfilling.
Yeah, I agree with that, and this is why even like yesterday, I took that book with me, didn't I? So I've got some downtime. I'll be looking at the book because I love it, but I know it's adding something. It's adding something to things I really love, like the coaching. Like, oh, I know I'm rereading it, but also it taps into that. You know, you said about the 3 hobbies, right? One to make you rich, one to keep you healthy, one to keep you creative, right? and I just love it. And people just were shocked; they weren't surprised that I'd have this book with me. And but I loved it. I was having a coffee, I was reading it. I just read a few pages, nothing too strenuous. Just I just enjoy that bit, and I know that's adding value. So yeah, and I'm like you. I've just got myself into doing the work to get to carve out to shape your life the way you want it to be. Right, the work life. Like I'm in a really good space with the corporate firm I'm working for. You know, in my family, in a good space. You know, my children, university, own a house. You know, well, you know, when I look back, is that I think it's that gratitude thing though, Lisa, where you were talking about, right? When I was going for mental health, I wasn't really recognizing what I already had, but I was in that space that wasn't a really great thing. And now finding obviously the gratitude and mindfulness. In fact, when I was doing my counselling, someone was talking about mindfulness. I thought, what is that baloney about? That is what that was my thoughts. That when I was first, you know, not great. They said, "Oh, have you heard of mindfulness?" No, and they just give me this little leaflet with mindfulness. And this was probably 25 years ago. Bloody hell, 20 years ago. So, what is this rubbish? Like, well, you know, there was just no awareness. There's no self-awareness of it, and so these things have really, really helped. And now we're talking about it. Now it's like full circle, isn't it? And tell advocates of it, and it, you know, so yeah, I loved everything you said, Lee. I think you know, I loved it when you said about the understated thing, and it should be for you and not for anyone else, and not caring about what other people think and doing what makes you fulfilled is the key, isn't it? It's you know, but that's what I think people struggle with. So
I think you're right. I think it's brave to lean into that. I think you have to have that element to be comfortable with that, and it is. And I know I said it already, but it's hard work. The only thing that gets you to that happiness, you have to invest in it, and it does. And it builds momentum, because I'm in a pattern and a habit with a lot of the things that I do now. But I had to work hard to get those habits. But those habits are the things that now drive my happiness.
I love that.
You see the things, and this was something we advocated early on, was the whole "don't waste your life on Netflix." I mean, in reverse, I was pushing you to watch a bit of Netflix and get some comedy in your life for an early on thing for us. But it's that balance, because you have to have downtime. There is a point where you're like, I'm just gonna. So, and people will say to me, you had the conversation. I'm like, I've not really watched much. You're like, have you seen that? I'm like, I've seen that. What about blah blah? Oh, I've seen that. Blah blah blah. Have you seen that? But again, it's maximising my time, because I'm still doing my job. I'm still doing writing my book at the moment. I still decorated the house. I did it at the weekend. We did a bit of gardening and stuff, and ate up the weekend on that. So there's a lot of things going on. But then I also, you know, an hour, 2 hours, whatever it is, for that relaxed time as well. You need to get a balance, and it's not about not wasting your life on Netflix. It's just making sure that isn't the only thing you do with your downtime, and you balance it all out. But again, this is why I think it's almost not natural. It's so the easiest thing to do is just sit there and veg out. But if you did that all the time, that doesn't hit any of those hobby markers whatsoever. It's not creative. It's not keeping you fit. It's not making you money. There's no fulfillment from that bit whatsoever. But that's not to say, even if you halved your time and invested in one hobby, which again will take time to get off the ground and the discipline, and you go through the bits where you're learning something new, or you're trying to build something, or you hit that wall exercising, where you've got to push through, and you've got to have that hard work bit about you, I think, to make it work.
Well, it's really interesting saying that again, because it reminds me of the Stoicism thing about Marcus Aurelius and what is the guy's name? Ryan Holiday. And he talks about Marcus Aurelius, and he said, you know, he's in his bed and he's having an argument with himself to get out of bed to do something. He said, why would you not work? Because if you look at nature, nature's always working, but then nature does rest as well. Like, you know, bees will work, but they'll go to, you know, they'll go to their hive or whatever and do whatever, right? So I love that. I love the fact that we can follow nature. Yes, you know, you look at all the animals that, I know it's probably a bit deep, but look at all the animals. They're always going out, finding food for their young ones, whatever. They're always doing something, but then there's always that they do balance it with some downtime. There is some rest, there's relaxation. But why would you not work? You know, that's what we're built for. We're built to work. It's just getting the right type of work for you and shaping your life to get to that place. Because to enjoy your work is like, you just don't feel like it's work. I mean, the stuff that I do just doesn't feel like work.
And that's why you say you move towards
just doesn't feel like work.
And it's not a job title or a position or anything else. It's what you do. What between whatever you work, if you work 9 to 5 Monday to Friday, or weekends, or overnight, or whatever, do you enjoy? It's like you said, Joe. It's enjoying the process, not the outcome. And do you enjoy what you do, or do you enjoy the majority of it? And if not, what can you start to do to shape it in that way, or what do you need to do that looks different? And again, it's what's the nuts and bolts of that job, and does it start to meet what you internally enjoy? And I'm very fortunate to be in a place that I don't view my work as work. Don't get me wrong. There's some days where I'm knackered and it's like, oh, I've got. But that's not. That's I could also. I also get days where I've assigned time to do some writing my book and I'm knackered and I've got to push through it. But I genuinely enjoy what I do. But I think it's because I've been fortunate to be in a position and I've had the mindset to explore things that I like doing. Sometimes what that means is taking on extra things above what I do. But then that stuff opens doors and avenues. And again, it's the hard work balance to get you there, and it's long. It doesn't happen quickly. You've got to be consistent. I sound very like you at the moment, Jose.
Well, you are. But you're absolutely right, and I think you said a lot of these things as well. You have to be consistent, but I think you've got to be clear on what you want. And I do this a lot of coaching with people that are just not clear on what they want. Like they say, "I really don't like what I do." Well, what is it you don't like what you do? Oh, okay. Well, I don't like this. Well, okay. So what do you want to do about it? What do you enjoy about it? Well, I like this. So when you get those sorts of answers, you can start to shape the things that you could start to go into, right? I don't think enough of us, people might be listening, are taking time to look at that. If you hate your job right now, what is it that you hate about it? What could you enjoy about it? What do you enjoy? What do you hate? It's probably the opposite of what you hate. They're going to be, you're going to enjoy whatever the things that you don't want to enjoy, right? So find the things that you enjoy. Shape whatever it is around that. Maybe it's a job you got right now. Maybe it's a job you shouldn't. Maybe you've got to change an angle. But I think definitely my job has definitely shaped, where my happiness is. Because we go to work quite a lot of the time. So if you can get your job place right, then it usually transfers into other life. But again, the same the other way. Sometimes the job thing goes not right, and you've got to shape the stuff outside work, right? But what are you spending your time on? Using your time effectively is so important, but having a really clear vision of what you really do enjoy is so important, because you can work every day, those little bits every day, what you're saying, consistently working every day. And it only takes little actions every day, something once a day, twice a day, and before you know, at the end of the year, you'll be working towards it. And I feel so blessed to be in a position I am right now. And of course, life can come along, kick you in the balls, can't it? Can always do that, which it tends to do. But then you're going to be much more resilient to deal with that challenge because you've all been working on yourself. So,
absolutely,
yeah, I love all that you've said there, Lee. I think it's so important. So, what are we saying then? When we got to the end of our lives, we're saying we're pretty okay then.
I think
we
so.
Would be all right.
I think I will be, but I think I only will be because I'm very conscious of the hard work I need to put in to make it happen. But I am. And I'm doing it a lot better now than I was this time last year or the year before, and 5 years before, 10 years before. And hopefully that continues. I'll look back 5 years from now and be like, God, I've leveled that up even more, and I just want to keep that going. I think that is the reason that I will be okay with this one. But I can look back retrospectively and see me going down a different path where I didn't become as conscious of myself and lean into this world we talk about on this podcast. And I think I would have had a totally different answer.
Do you know what I think is also important? And I really like that answer, because there's also a question about not putting too much pressure on yourself either to do these things. Like you said about, make sure that the things you're setting yourself are not what you say, are what that you really do want, and not because of outside. Because you can think it's what you want, but it's not actually what you want. I don't know if that makes sense.
100% it does.
You know what you want, but it's not what you want, right?
Yeah. I've been there and I see people there, and that's it. And again, it's the inward, not the outward thing. And it's a journey for us all. It doesn't all happen overnight, but hopefully this is giving people some inspiration to think about that. Joe, I've enjoyed this so much. The time has completely run away with me. So we need to do some quick takeaways and wrap us up.
Oh, go on. Yeah, go on.
So for me, work hard at your happiness is my takeaway.
Okay. So I really like that. Work hard at your happiness. What specifically? What we got work hard at?
I love this. I'm like, we're just going to wrap up. We've got to do it quickly. You're like, so I'm going to really slowly ask you this big open-ended question.
All right, maybe you could do it in the book. Maybe we could do it in the book. Ooh,
What you have to work hard at is your mindset to know what you want and do the things to make it happen.
yeah, I love that. Really good. For me, it's not caring about what other people think
It's
and
good.
not
It's a
doing it for
very
any
good
other
one.
people. Like, not other people, like, really focus on yourself. Why am I doing this? Why am I doing it? And they say, well, I'm doing it because I like it. Or why do you like it? I'll go for the three whys. I've done this with Lee before. I said, well, why are you doing what you're doing? Ask yourself the three whys. Go deeper. Why? Almost like a child, and get to the really root cause as to why you're doing the thing you're doing. And if you're just doing it like just for money, that's not going to fulfill you, right? Money's important, but it's not number one, right? It is important. We need to get an income, but it should be something that really does. Like when you do it, when you do the thing, time just does. Time just you don't even realise the time. It's like playing one of your greatest computer games. Like you play it and you think, oh my god, it's nearly 2 o'clock in the morning. What's going on? It should feel like that. It should be like that. If that's where it is. And so yeah, that's for me. It's just making sure that you don't care what other people think. You're doing the thing that you want. As long as adding value to the world, not harming other people. Of course, that's why I just add a caveat to that.
I like it.
That's me.
You're terrible at wrapping up quickly, Joe.
I know. Well, I need some context to it. I know. Sometimes I think about, people need a bit of context behind that, so I try and add a little bit more. But maybe keep it simple, stupid, right? Kiss.
Always keep it simple, stupid. I love it. Right, social media at Listen to IN, Listen to OIN. Just put Jose Noya-Inspiration Nation into your Google machine. Joe's everywhere. YouTube, TikTok. You will join live. You can see the technical difficulties we had at the start live if you follow and subscribe to Joe on there. And I think that's it. Oh, inspirationnation.org.uk, merch and stuff and all that jazz. 3, 2, 1, Inspiration Nation.
Destination.
Catch you guys later.
Catch you guys later. Thank you, TikTokers. Thank you, Cubby Howard, for joining. Appreciate you.